Thank you guys for being here. We served together in the Missouri Legislature back when the Missouri Legislature was looking after working people.
Functional.
Let me say I appreciate all of you coming out, and we are opening offices all over the state. This is, I can't even remember how many offices we've already opened, but everywhere from Joplin to Cape Girardeau to St. Joe to Hannibal. I think this is our 4th or 5th office in the St. Louis area. We are doing the same thing in the Kansas City area. And people are saying, well, why are you doing this? Well, because this race is not about just anonymous money on TV. Have you noticed? Have you noticed they're after me? Yes, please, they're after me with all kinds of mega millionaires and big corporations writing these checks. We don't know. I don't really get why this amount of anonymous. I guess it's because the Supreme Court said that corporations were people.
Right. Yeah. Money is speech.
Well, corporations are not people.
No, they're not.
You are people, and it is really important that the people take control of this race, not these giant corporations. People. Now everyone with a clipboard, raise your hand. Right, no, big, you got big. See these people right here? This is who you have to see before you leave. Because we're signing up shifts of people, real people, who care about the values that their government reflects, who care about what America has always been and needs to continue to be, a land of opportunity, and a land where the government performs basic functions in an efficient way, but nonetheless performs basic functions. Now, my opponents are very interesting. And there are 3 of them, and I like to say 3 of a kind, one and the same. There is not a dime's worth of difference between these 3 candidates on issues. They have a very narrow view. These 3 candidates make John Ashcroft look like a liberal. They are incredibly conservative in terms of the way they view what the government should be doing. They want to be members of the Tea Party caucus. They have all sought every Tea Party endorsement they could possibly get. One of them was endorsed by Tea Party Express. The second one was endorsed by the largest Tea Party group in the United States, Freedom Works. And the third one, not to be outdone, was endorsed by Michelle Bachmann. So that gives you some idea that the range of ideas between them is non-existent. They have a very narrow view. And I want you to leave here remembering 3 things. I call them the big 3. And it's when you realize that this is a choice. And what we do in Washington is we make choices. We have to spend less money. But the question is, what will the choices be as we work our way to a more sound fiscal posture in the United States government? And these choices are incredibly important because they impact you and your parents and your children. And the big 3, all 3 of my opponents want to privatize Medicare. Of course, which means that seniors would be given some money from the government and then they'd be on their own. Wrestling insurance companies for the right coverage. Wrestling insurance coverage companies for whether or not their claim will be paid. If, in fact, their premiums are more than what the government gives them, they're on their own. And obviously, that is not the Medicare program that we embrace in the Democratic Party. That is not the Medicare program that is right for our seniors. The second thing is privatization of Social Security. They want to privatize Social Security. Now, can you imagine if this had been done 30 years ago when somebody put all their money in Madoff? What would we do right now? What would we do right now? What would we do with that person who lost all of their Social Security in the Madoff Ponzi scheme? Would we say to that senior, you're out of luck? You can't have food stamps? You can't have low-income housing vouchers? Would we put that senior out in the street? So what we're really saying is, let Wall Street play around with Social Security money, and if it doesn't turn out, the government will be there to pick up the pieces. That's not a good fiscal decision. That's not a wise fiscal decision for our government. The third thing, and this is the one that's really a gut punch to the way we see America. Because what we have been to the rest of the world is this beacon on the hill. Where if you were an American, you could grab that first rung of the ladder and be anything. Doesn't matter whether your father or mother was a teacher or a janitor or a maintenance worker or ran a corner grocery store. You could grab that first rung of the ladder because we decided higher education was important. And therefore, the federal government has backed up student loans. All three of my opponents say the federal government has no business in student loans. Now, what does that mean? It sounds good to the Tea Party, get the government out of everything, get the government out of everything. But let's talk about the reality of that. I've had 3 17-year-olds. I wouldn't loan money to any of them. I don't know how many 17-year-olds you've had, but I'm willing to bet that you wouldn't loan money to them. So what they're really saying is if the private sector is going to take all the risk of giving loans to kids to go to college, that a 17-year-old is going to walk in a bank and say, I have no marketable skills, I have no college degree, I have no credit history, and my family doesn't have enough money to send me to college. Now, how many banks are going to give them a loan?
None.
So who's going to go to college?
Rich.
Just rich kids.
Just rich kids.
And what does that do to America? How does that change that light on the hill to the rest of the world?
Puts it out.
It says to the rest of the world that, in fact, this is going to be a country like many others, where we have the haves and the have-nots and nothing in between. So that is really damaging to the vision that is America and to the America that we all love and know, and the America that so many men and women have fought for. And so this is a race worth fighting for, if nothing else, to hold on to the notion that you don't have to have rich family to go to college in America. It is really, really important. I really hope that every single one of you will sign up for a shift today. We have already made hundreds and thousands of phone calls. We've already been on 40,000 doors. And what we're looking for is we're looking for those people who can't make up their mind and need factual information, and we will give them factual information. And those people who are enthusiastic about making sure that the choices in Washington are made for them, not for the Koch brothers, not for big oil, not for the mega wealthy. And really, that's what's really the most disappointing about the choices that are being made right now. I don't know how you sleep at night when you say, I'd rather privatize Medicare than take government money away from big oil. I'd rather do away with student loans and get rid of Pell Grants than make Donald Trump pay for his own prescription medicine. I'd rather decimate programs that have provided an essential safety net for farmers. I'd rather do that than charge multimillionaires 2 or 3 percentage points more on their income taxes. These are the choices they're making. They are siding with the mega wealthy and the folks that have all the power. And my job is to side with you. My job is to go to Washington and make sure that while I'm making choices that are sound fiscal choices for the future of our country, which means spending less money, that the choices reflect a balance and reflect what I believe in my heart. And that is, we can do better without making it all about the big guys. And that's why I'm fighting so hard, and you don't need to worry. No matter how many shifts you sign up for, no matter how many doors you knock on, no matter how many phone calls you make, you will not outwork me. You will not outwork me. On those days that I'm tired, on those days that I want to feel sorry for myself, because I'm old. I'm not as old as Phil Berry, but I'm old. I'm old. On those days that I feel like I can't do another stop, I can't give another speech, I can't travel another mile, I want you to know I see your faces. I see all of you. You are here on a Saturday morning because you have a stake in this. And I feel an incredible obligation not to let you down. So I will not disappoint you. I will not give up, and we will win this race. And if anybody wants to bet you whether or not I'm going to win this race, you take the bet and I'll cover it. Thank you guys very much.
you.